because again, we have opinion. I want to do the actual word. This one, notice Strong's Greek, and then it lists the Greek word steros, and you see the Greek spelling. That's what I want. You see, I want the actual information. I don't want opinion. And all the sites previous, they're all opinion. And as we state, we're not here to give you our opinion. Our opinion doesn't matter. Okay? So let's look up the definition for steros. I want you to understand it's an upright stake. Hence, a cross, the Roman instrument of crucifixion. That part is a lie. The Romans did not use the cross. If you ever get a chance, take a look at the movie Spartacus, which gets so close to the way things were originally. You see, here at this particular site, they want to tell you that steros translates into cross. And technically, in Old English, King James English, it did translate into cross. Because during the King James times, the word cross meant an upright stake. Interesting. It says steros, the counterpiece Roman cross. The crossbeam, that is a lie. It did not have a crossbeam, and we're going to prove that in a minute. You see, the Romans did not put criminals on crosses, as we understand the word cross today, meaning having a crossbeam. Steros means an upright pole or stake. So, as I told you, I went to that site thinking that it was going to give me the actual Greek word with the actual Greek definition. It gave me the Greek definition, but then it added to it. That didn't help. I don't need the opinions of the individual putting their ideas into it. You see, they want to tell people what it means as opposed to pulling up what it means. So what I would suggest is that you go to what's known as a college library or the main library in your city. Go to the dictionaries, the old big huge dictionaries, and type in the word steros. As a matter of fact, that's what we're going to do here. Matter of fact, what we're going to do is we're going to put DE. We're going to put in just definition of steros instead of just putting the word. I forgot Google is the type of thing that doesn't really help. Okay? This one should do us pretty good. It's Wikipedia though, and I don't really trust Wikipedia, but it says steros is the Greek word usually translated cross in the Bible. In reference to the device in which Jesus was executed, the meaning of the word has changed over the centuries. It's not the meaning that has changed, it is because people have added to the meaning. Now, this one says, I can't actually tell what site this is and how trustworthy it may be, but it says, so the original meaning of steros evidently was strong and continued for a long time, even spreading to other language. Okay, now that I'm aware of, but that still doesn't help me. That doesn't give us the definition. And again, I don't trust Wikipedia because Wikipedia doesn't verify any information. It just allows people to put information up there. Yeah, see, now I understand the person who put that out, but that's not what I'm looking for. Like I mentioned to you, I'm looking for the actual definition. So we'll try this site here because it's at dictionist.com and it mentions, now it's a Greek word, and I'm looking at an English site for a Greek word definition. And so what I would suggest is many of you, you're probably going to get the word sterou when you look in a dictionary. But you're going to see that it says upright pole, and that's the definition for steros. Upright pole. Why is that important? Well, let's find out. Not that particular version of the Bible. Here is a interlinear version. It actually has the Greek words, see the Greek words up top, plus the spelling of the Greek word translated into English letters. It helps us to understand how to pronounce it. And then we have the exact English word, like theos, meaning God. And with the exact English wording underneath, we can understand it better. Here is the word styros, wood or pole. And it's not actually the word styros, it's the word tree. Notice what the scriptures say here at Acts, the 5th chapter, and verse 30. It says, and this is Peter talking, the God of our fathers raised up Jesus, whom ye slew, killed, and hanged on a tree. Now people are saying, well, that meant it had an upright pole. That's a lie, because they did not hang people on literal trees. That happened during the 1800s when you would see somebody hanging from a rope. But Jesus was impaled. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Now remember, we're dealing with the word pole. So let's see what Strong's has to say about pole. And it didn't give me the word styros, and I'm looking for that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to this definition. Nope, it didn't. It doesn't give it to me. Actually, it had a definition there for dictionaryist.com. Let's go with dictionary.com. We're going to go with dictionary.com. Dictionary.com is a website where you can look up words, where you can get definition for words. And because we're not looking up a legal word, we're not doing legal definition, we're doing actual definition of Greek words. So I will assure you that and I wish I had looked this up before I got on and decided to, I put ARRY, that's the reason why it took me here. What's been happening is that a lot of people have not been understanding. We're not putting on a script or a show. We're giving basic information that's right there for everybody to see. Remember how I told you Acts the 5th chapter, verse number, what was it? Acts the 5th chapter, verse 30. So let's take a trip. We're going to go to Acts the 5th chapter, verse 30 in these particular versions. The top version is the New English Version, and the bottom version is I think it's the Good News. Let's see what it is. GW, God's Word translation of the Bible. And to get these copies of the Bible, it took some research, but what you'll do is you'll do interlinear Bibles. And I say interlinear Bibles because it's going to take you to several sites, and one site will allow you to download several versions of the Bible. But we're going to go to the 5th chapter of Acts, and we're going to go to verse 30. And the 5th chapter of Acts, verse 30, notice what it says. The God of our forefathers raised up Jesus, whom you seized and killed by hanging him on a tree. Now, the God's Word version of the Bible, let's see if it agrees with him being hung on a tree. Now people say, but the King James Version uses the word cross, and yes it does. We're not here to talk about why it used the word cross. As I mentioned to you before, the meaning of the word cross has changed over the centuries. See, you murdered Jesus by hanging him on a cross, but God, the God of our ancestors, brought him back to life. Now, do you see the big difference? Nothing in this verse speaks about God bringing Jesus back to life. Nothing in this verse speaks about God bringing Jesus back to life. It just says he raised up Jesus. Now people can say, well, that could translate in him bringing Jesus back to life, really? Well, where does the word cross come in at? This is the original Greek. Where's the word cross? The literal word translates into wood. People say, well, it was 2 pieces of wood. No, sorry, we can't imply that because the scriptures don't say that. You'll see in a minute. Even Jesus references what he was to be impaled upon. Now here we are at dictionary.com, and we're going to search the dictionary for the word steros. And I apologize that this video be in certain segments. Unlike our other site, we can put videos up for that's more than an hour, but we want people to understand that first, understanding the Bible is not just having somebody tell you what it says, it's having yourself do research. And I kind of thought that I wasn't going to find the word steros in the dictionary, but I thought I would take a chance and see if I could find it. So it's S-T-A-R-U, A-U-R, and so no, I'm not going to find the word steros in this particular version of the Bible. And it bothers me that I wasn't able to find it, the definition, the actual definition, because let's see, this one says steros and it asks for me. Wait, I apologize, everyone. I think it says as the word steros suggests a cross being, meaning making it a cross. No. Let's go back. This says Greek lexicon, and that's what I need. I need the Greek lexicon so that we can see what the actual word meant. Lexicon, word translation, study of. And so here we have the steros, and there is the word. This is how it is spelled, S-T. Well, let's make it a little bit bigger so you can see what I'm seeing. There's no reason for the screen to be so small since we are using the whole screen. Okay, and this is an interesting site. It even will pronounce the word for you so that you can understand how to pronounce it. Now, please notice this. An upright stake, especially a pointed one. Then the second one is a cross, a well-known instrument of most cruel and ignominious punishment, borrowed from the Greeks and Romans, from the Phoenicians, it were fixed among the Romans down to the time of Constantine the Great. You see, that's the problem. That's when it started, was Constantine's era. Why? Because I've done research on it so many years ago, using the dictionary that explained it. The Romans originally didn't hang people on crosses. They hung people on poles. It was even a tradition, even in Africa. People hung people on poles. Why? Well, the reason why they hung people on poles, because an instrument of impalement. You see, in Africa, the reason why the stake, and I want you to pay attention to the point here. In Africa, especially with kings like Shaka Zulu, of the Zulu nation. Shaka was known for hanging people on pointed stakes. He would literally drive the pointed end of the stake up the rear end of the people he was impaling, and he would hang them that way. That's Shaka Zulu, because it was tradition to hang people on stakes. It wasn't tradition to hang people on crosses. Now remember, Christ had to fulfill the law. That's what we were talking about earlier. Christ had to fulfill the law. We'll talk about that in a minute, but we had another page that we were going to. Oh, sorry. That's not the one. We're going to... Well, let's go to the next page. We don't need to go to steros meaning because it's going to be people's opinion. Definition of steros, we've already... I don't want to go and ask the question, did Jesus die on the cross? Note that Strong includes the definition of steros as an instrument of capital punishment. Okay, but we already know that. Stavros. No, that's not the word. We are not looking for arguments. We're not looking for people to give us their opinion. You see, even this site is not what we're looking for. None of this stuff is what we're looking for. So it's actually taken us completely off course. This one is in Roman, so this one doesn't even help us. I'll try one more time. Nope, that's not helping me either. And this is what research is all about. Now, this one right here may help because it says a stake or pole, and it talks about Vine's expository dictionary. So let's see what we get when we compare research, because if it gives us Vine's expository dictionary